So we have a slideshow, but please jump in with questions. Melinda, please jump in if I'm going too fast or if you think I should slow down and take more questions. I'm the tech side of things and Melinda is the pedagogy side of things. So we really team up with all the new study leaders and are always available within 24 hours, we'd like to say, to help you out.
Can I just interject? When we say, we use the word pedagogy, I'd rather say classroom management, classroom organization. The topic to me doesn't matter, but I'm been and always have been interested in the presentation and what students are learning and taking from what the wonderful things that you all have to offer. So when we say pedagogy, I think that's what that means.
Yeah, I also have to stipulate that we do have Lisa, Diane, Sarah, and Laura behind us. So it's not like we're doing it. We're kind of adjuncts. We're sort of hoping to fill in the gaps where they need help and trying to relieve them of some of all those tasks that they do on a daily basis.
Good, thank you.
Okay, so let's get started with our new orientation. Today we're going to do a quick Osher history, the study leader universe, how study leaders support fits in, class representative and Osher office, things to keep in mind. The first day, which is always, you know, everyone forgets about, oh, right, I'm going into class, the last day and what needs to be done, and the Osher adult learner profile. These will come in various, not necessarily in this order, but it's just to let you know what we're going to be covering. So the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute is how Osher started. It was established by Dartmouth College at the Institute for Lifelong Learning at Dartmouth, which was ILLIAD, in November 1990 by 38 members of the Upper Valley that with the idea of continued learning. And there were lots of groups around the States and Canada. I'm a Canadian. The founders relished the challenge of starting up their own self-administered and peer-taught discussion programs. By 2010, the 20th anniversary of the organization, nearly 26,000 people had participated in the Institute's programs. And in 2014, ILLIAD formally became a member of the Osher network of lifelong learning institutes. So we have a long history. You may have come across some of our original founders in some of your courses, but it's really quite extraordinary. With the onset of COVID-19, person-to-person classes were suspended, but what was great is that as Zoom became available, participants and study leaders now come from across the states and some from outside of the states. You'll see the blue stars that represent, but I know that we have people from Italy who Zoom in and some other countries, so it's quite expansive. These are some of the typical questions expressed by prospective or new study leaders, and I'm sure you all have them. What do Osher course participants expect? Who can I contact for assistance? How do I apply to teach a course? What resources are available to me as an instructor? What training is available if I want to teach? This first one, you've already successfully applied. That's why you're here. But we threw that in anyway, because those are usually some of the first questions. So who are your students? These are the people we're going to be working with, and they are just like us. They have extensive backgrounds. They're extremely collaborative. They are goal-oriented. They can at times be self-conscious or feel intimidated or anxious, especially if they're using new technology. They have different reaction times. You might say something that someone picks up on, but someone just doesn't connect the dots. So you may have to repeat things a few times and people might come back and ask the question. And as we know on Zoom, it's a question of taking your time and going more slowly and being more patient. They come to learn about your subject, which is great. They're not like high school students that have to sit in your class. So if they show up, it's because they want to learn about your subject. They come to exchange ideas, which is why it's really important to make it chat time available, sharing ideas, asking questions, and interacting with each other. There's a real social component to the programs that we run. They like to meet new people. They like to socialize, as I said, and on Zoom in particular, it's hard to build in that component. Some people actually build in half an hour before their course. They say, I'm going to open the room and you can come and chat. So there are different ways. If you have any ideas, please share them as you go through your courses. And if you'd like to learn more, please let us know. This is the Osher Universe. You're in the middle as a study leader. So the office takes in your proposal forms, but before you get there, we have the recruiting team that looks for, study leaders, and the vetting team that actually helps you review courses. So the office is sort of involved in all of this. And then when you've gotten to that point and your course has been approved and it's gone into the brochure, then that's where the study leader support comes in, which is what we do. And we help with tech and teaching and problem solving. We do have classroom support. We have monitors and class reps that you will hear about. Then we have feedback. We like to hear from you as a study leader, how your course went. And we like to hear from the participants in our classes, how our courses went. Because it's a learning environment for all of us. And there may be some things that we don't pick up on that our class members have picked up on. And then the curriculum sort of oversees all of these different subcommittees, and we meet on a regular basis. That's what Bill Secret is in charge of. Sorry if I stumbled on that. So the other thing that you should know about if you are a study leader is the support services. You get pre-semester orientation, which is what we're doing. You get Zoom training with Osher staff. Lisa, have we started that yet?
No.
Okay.
So we'll reach out if anybody needs Zoom training. We can offer that, and we also have right on our study leader page recordings of Zoom training. But if there's anything you'd like to go over, just be in touch.
Okay, great. So we have one-on-one tech support, which is what I do, and now we have another couple of volunteers for Zoom. If you want to practice one-on-one as you get ready a couple of weeks before your course. We do just a quick review of Google Drive, how to use your Google Drive. If you want to build a slideshow with Google Slides, we can help you with that. Any other questions? If you send them into the office, they will farm them out to us, and we are building a tech team. We have course design support, which is what Melinda was sort of referring to. She doesn't like to call it pedagogy, but it's any kind of support that you don't think is tech, but just in building your courses, getting ideas. That again is one-on-one work. We have whoa, sorry.
Oh,
we have.
Well, let me interject real quickly, because can you go back to that?
Yeah.
We have on the website, we're beginning to develop something called under study leader support, what we're calling a digital handbook. We used to hand you a handbook of all of the things that you needed for organizing your material and what was expected of you as a study leader. Anyway, a lot of that, and we also used to teach an in-person course on how to teach an Osher course. So I've taken a lot of that and trying now to put it on, and within this title, digital handbook.
That's actually our next slide.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. So hang on. So strategies on running classrooms, teach one, take one, you get this. I believe, Lisa, it's still available. If you teach one, you get a free class for every course you teach.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, great. There's a library card for the Baker Library, which was suspended. Lisa
it is now available.
Okay.
We sent all the leaders' names over from fall, winter, and spring. So if you are local and you'd like to use the Baker Library, you just need to go to the circulation desk, give them your name, and you'll have a library card till June 30th.
Yep, that's great. There's also, I believe, still reimbursement for expenses up to $60, Lisa?
Correct. I just need receipts. If you purchase books or materials for your course, just submit the receipts electronically if that's easier, and name, address, mailing address, and I'm happy to reimburse you up to $60.
Okay, so I was teaching courses on iPad and I needed a microphone to go on my computer, so I submitted it and I was reimbursed for that. So things like that that you think you might need to embellish your courses, please consider it. And the other thing is post-semester feedback. That's what I talked about earlier. So that we have a wrap-up session that we used to have, and Lisa, maybe we'll start that again post-COVID. We had everyone get together who had just finished teaching and just share out what worked and what didn't work. All right, let's see if this takes me to the next one. All right, so this is what Melinda was talking about on the Osher at Dartmouth Education .edu website. There's a link here to the Study Leader Digital Handbook. So if you click on that, it will take you to a website that we are reorganizing. We're always in the throes of reorganizing it, but it will give you a lot of ideas on how to use Zoom, how to use tech, and different ways of getting up and running with your courses. So I don't know if, yeah, we'll just keep going.
Keep going. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we have, Lisa, you're going to have to help me out here. We have a class representative who should take care of all your paperwork. You're the study leader. You're busy organizing your course. And so the class representative is supposed to help with the class administration, is supposed to manage attendance. Now, this may not be so important in Zoom, but if you're doing a hybrid class or if you're teaching in person, that's very helpful. They should hand out a link to the feedback form, which is at the end of your course, the evaluation. We don't like to call it evaluation, but it's the feedback on what the participants thought of your course and any other administrative managers. The class rep is also the link to the instructor and link to the office for concerns. We don't like to say complaints, but sometimes it may be outside of the study leader's control. Maybe the Zoom wasn't working properly. Maybe the person in the class didn't really understand what the class was going to be all about. But the participant in the class may not feel comfortable reaching out to you as a study leader. So they can actually go to the class rep and say, you know, I found it kind of slow. What can we do about it? And the class rep, or you can reach out to the office and they will send that to the class rep.
So we've termed class representative as the person that helps the leaders for in-person courses. Class monitor is the term for Zoom courses. That's the difference.
Okay. The most important thing to know is that it's not a gopher for the study leader. Sometimes the study leader thinks, oh, great, I've got a secretary, and hands everything over. So that's not what it is. So, you know, if you do get a class rep, reach out to her or him and sort of share out as you will. Are there any questions at this point? I can't see hands, so I hope someone's monitoring hands.
Diane?
Diane.
I had a couple of things that I'd like to mention.
Great.
When we say that the class rep might handle concerns, sometimes that's as simple as I can't hear my study leader. And we may suggest things like a portable mic. The other thing that's new at our new space, which is quite wonderful, is the study leader lounge on the second floor, which does have a printer in it for study to use. If you may put things on the Google Drive. You might also have a couple of documents or images that you would like them to have physically, and you can use that printer in the study leader lounge to print those materials. You also can take a break in there or come in there to do some of your, prep work, kind of read something, whatever. You could take your cup of coffee in there and your covered travel mug and drink in the study leader lounge while your class takes a break, for example. But having that lounge available, I think is a pretty neat feature in our new space. And we certainly do encourage the participants also, if they have a concern, like, I'd like you not to show slides for so long, I'd like you to break it up more. We do encourage people, if they're comfortable, to make those suggestions directly to you as a study leader.
Great, thanks. Elias has a question? Your hand
Yes,
up? Okay.
thank you. Just a quick question about feedback from previous sessions. So our Corel colleagues have offered this class in the past. They've since retired. I participated in the class over the last few years. Are there feedback forms from the hot topics at the Cold Regions Lab that you could share with me?
Sure, I'd be happy to send those to you.
Thank you, Lisa.
You're welcome.
Okay, great question. And Melinda, you were going to say something?
Well, only that the feedback form is really should not be, I don't think, looked at as an evaluation of your successes or failures or whatever, but it is it's a wonderful way to get feedback on how your presentation is going and how students or learners are feeling about it. It's a great way for you to do a little self-reflection, because some of you may want to offer this same course again or another course and try to, step up or improve your presentations a little bit. So please don't consider them as evaluations. They're really a great way. Many of us who used to teach, I used to in high school send evaluations out to my students. Many teachers did not, but I did because I figured they're my clients. I mean, they're my consumers. They have a right to tell me if they're not getting what they need. So,
Little side note, Melinda was one of my high school teachers.
that's how old we are. Oh my God, Lisa. Okay.
Okay, this is the class monitor list, which Melinda and I put together, and we still are not sure if that's what they do, but Lisa, let me know if we're wrong. So prior to session, the class monitor sends the Zoom link to the class, gets online 15 or 20 minutes before the class to work with speakers if you have a speaker, discusses and agrees on hosting and co-hosting with the study leader, discusses timing and length of breaks and questions and answers with your study leader, and agrees on how questions will be handled. Is that more or less it, Linda? Elisa, rather?
Yeah, that's pretty much. I mean, the first session, we always have a staff member that joins as well,
Right.
just to kind of troubleshoot. And we actually, a new thing that we do, so after the first session, is to give the study leaders the claim host key number. So we don't have to attend every week. The leader or monitor can join their Zoom meeting, click on the participants panel, and then claim their host, and we
Right.
send them that 6-digit number.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So that they can, claim their host, and then they'll be able to share slides freely.
So yeah, so if you have a class monitor, which I hope you do, it is good to meet up with a class monitor a week before, run through these questions, ask the study leader, ask the class, tell the class monitor you don't mind being interrupted, that they're in charge of watching hands, that you can't do it all, and anything else you think you might need help with, and get on your Zoom class and just play around with your class monitor so you're comfortable.
And I know it seems funny, even though we've sent it out numerous times, the Zoom link, people just don't seem to save it. So that we found early on doing Zoom that the biggest thing, which was really helpful to us in the office, is to have the class monitor send the Zoom link out every week, the day of, the morning of, the day
Right.
before, just because people
Right.
don't save it. Like we've tried, but so that's a huge help for our members to just send it out every week.
So one tip I want to tell you, which I had not realized, is that the class link that you have for your class is your link. So if you want to play around with Zoom, you can go in, you can click on your class link that you've been sent, and you can put in the host key, which we will send you, and then you can play around, practice showing your presentation, and you can even invite someone in just to play around. I do work with you if you want one-on-one a couple of weeks before. I can go in a couple of times and we can test out anything you want. But if you want to practice beforehand, you don't really have a Zoom account you want to use, you can use that Osher link to your class. And I'm sure Diane can give you the key so you can practice. Right, Diane?
Right, right. The
Um,
other thing for both the monitor and the rep is that even though a class might be on Zoom, it might need to be canceled and rescheduled. Or if it's in person, it might be canceled and need to be rescheduled. And the class rep or the class monitor are reminded to prompt the study leader to share that either before the class starts or at the very first session, so that people know. It will be on the Osher website. There'll be a phone tree. I'll send you an email, whatever the plan is.
Okay, great. So during the session, the monitor, oh, sorry, Todd.
Thank you. Just a question about monitors and representatives. When and how are we notified, depending on our class, if we are to have a representative or a monitor?
Sure, I can answer that. We send an email to the member who has volunteered, thank them, and copy you on that email. And typically include a little suggestion that perhaps the two of you can connect before class starts. So you have their email, and if your roster has been created, if you look at the roster, you'll have their phone number as well if they have a phone.
Thank you.
Thanks. So during the session, as I said, the monitor, the class monitor will sort of check the chat and the hand raise, prepared to help the study leader. If you have guest speakers, sometimes managing that can be helpful. Whatever you want that you think is within the skill set of your monitor, I think you should work as a team. It just makes a huge difference, because then the monitor knows what's expected of that person. And then after a session, someone threw in this, that there seem to be assignments. Some study leaders do give assignments. And so study leaders have preferred that, that the monitor help, or even the class rep help get the assignments out for the next session. I don't know if you people have homework. I always had homework, but I kind of sent it out on my own. But there are some that feel better if someone can sort of back them up with the homework. Okay. So the Osher office runs the day-to-day organization, which you've already seen, manages space and schedules the events, helps the study leaders with equipment. This is when you're in class, and also they do the Zoom training. They assist with photocopying, and I don't know if Diane, you want to jump in about limits on photocopying?
We don't really do much photocopying anymore.
Okay, good.
We try to have everyone put their material on the Google Drive or send it out via an email. And we do ask that study leaders include Osher at Dartmouth.edu, the kind of the office account
Yeah, the email.
communication, so that we in the office are aware of what's going on, because what often happens is the members then call us. And if we haven't seen your email, then we have no idea, what you're talking about.
Okay, so I'm going to edit that for the next go around. Thanks. If possible, as a study leader, you should handle your own paperwork, which is what Diane really just referred to. Call study leader support for tech help, or email the office for any kind of tech help. Any kind of help, whether it's building your program with Melinda or tech with me, and call on the office in emergencies. Please feel free. Anything can happen when you're in the middle of a Zoom class. And I'll tell a quick story. I was teching for someone, and his speaker dropped off, and then he dropped off, and I was left running the class. So I had to throw out a question to the class and leave them in control and go back and call someone else. So if you're on Zoom, you can just leave it in the hands of your class, but if you have a monitor, maybe that's something you should discuss, it if someone drops off, or if you drop off, your monitor takes over. You never know, but people are very patient. They understand that this is Zoom and we're all around the country, and there can be a tornado next door and suddenly you're off.
And if they don't know enough about your subject, make sure that they can do a song and dance or something until you come back.
Yeah. So we actually, what happened here? So what happened with this is that someone had just asked the question, and the study leader was going to answer it, and then he dropped off, and we'd actually had a speaker who had to drop off. So I said, okay, guys, you answer the question and I'll go find the study leader. So another time I was teching for the person, and we had our generator being cleaned and they just cut the electricity to make sure the generator would work. So I had to get back on. So you never know.
But it's funny. It makes me, can I just jump in? I mean, this is why I feel what we're doing is really so important, because in a way, it doesn't matter whether you're teaching in person or in Zoom. I mean, I remember being teaching at Hanover High School. It wasn't your course, Lisa. And I had an 8mm projector that I had learned how to, go. And I had, 28 kids in the class or 25 kids in the class, and we were showing this movie, and all of a sudden the projector just went bananas and everything is all over the floor. I mean, it was unbelievable. I mean, things happen. And so you have to be prepared, and you can't anticipate everything, but there are a couple of things that if somebody wants to brainstorm, I can help you with, to hand your monitor and say, if, I'm lost at some point, here's something you can do.
Okay, great.
And
Thanks.
we could help you with
Sue?
that.
Sue?
I can't find the handy little hand to ask a question, so
Oh, okay.
that's why I'm waving at you. I was contacted by someone offering to be a mentor, and I put him off until after this class because I'm not sure whether I need one, whether it's the same as a class rep or what.
So a mentor is really a great resource tool for yourself. It's usually another study leader that has taught with Osher before, even if you're a seasoned teacher. Osher is different, and they're just there as a person that you can use to ask questions, bounce ideas off. They're there as a resource for you. You're not required to use them, but it's one of those building, just to have somebody to lean on to ask questions that's done what you're doing, will be doing. We just thought it was a really great way to connect with someone else. And we try to match you up in the same fields if possible, like science or literature or arts, gardening. That doesn't always work out, but it's just a great tool. As you will hear from many that have been teachers in the past, it's the most wonderful thing because the participants actually want to be here. They don't get graded. I don't have to do tests, and they actually show up. So very different than if you've taught, in secondary or post-secondary school. But that's basically all it is. It's just a resource for our new instructors.
Okay. So it's a separate thing altogether.
Yep.
Where is this handy little hand?
Down at the bottom.
I'm looking. Where?
Yeah.
Under
Reaction.
Don't
reactions,
show me.
And at the bottom of the reactions when you open it. Whoop.
Oh, under reactions.
yep.
Oh,
Should
there
say
it is.
raise hand
Well,
and
I
lower
still don't
hand.
see a hand.
At the very bottom.
I
Oh,
see a
sorry.
clap. I see a raised hand. Yes, I do. Found it. Thank you,
Okay.
Anne.
All right. So the options for teaching seem to be changing by the week. So we just thought we'd throw this in. We have face-to-face, which is our traditional classroom. We have online learning, which is our Zoom. And now we have hybrid, which I think, who is it? Todd, you're doing a hybrid, right?
Yes.
Where a hybrid is where you teach some people in the class, but you're also Zooming out. And
Yes.
that's just a new option. So we just keep expanding. I can't think of a fourth way to do it if, maybe if you're really remote. So in the class, the issues of classroom management are, some of you may have this. Can everybody see the screen? That used to be the big problem. Do you need a flipboard, something to write on the side? Can you move the tables around if you want a different configuration? Have you built in time for questions and answers? This is really critical because remember, I said it was a real social engagement aspect of Osher courses. Have you planned to do a practice run the week before? This is really important. You get into the classroom, you kind of walk around, you get a sense of how it feels. And have you thought about how to manage materials like discussions, time, pacing, breaks, handing out materials, sharing materials online? Some things that I think I've got the next one is For example, my husband was doing something on Brexit, and he just gave a glossary of all the Brexit terms he thought people might need to know for the course. Someone was teaching a program on World War II, I think it was, and wanted to give a map out of the different countries that were involved. So things like that that might be valuable to your students even before they get in the classroom would be good.
And I have another suggestion too. I mean, it's always useful, and if you have colleagues that are teaching with you, they can be your resource. Like, hey, how did the pace of the course go? Did I, do you have any feedback for me? Or use your class monitor or class rep as a resource to just touch base with them and say, how do you think class went? Do you have any suggestions for me? I mean, we're here to help and to make your experience a pleasant one. Also, because what we have found from the instructors is that this is rewarding for you as well, because you may find you'll learn things from the folks that are in the group, because it is a very engaged group, and they have registered for your course because they want to learn, and I'm sure they will ask questions. So
Thanks. So in Zoom, it's, have you done the Zoom training? Everyone really should sign up for the Zoom training. It usually is about a month before your courses start. So as Lisa said, you'll be getting a notice about that. Do you need to show slides or images or videos? If you do, going to the Zoom training will be a help. I can also help and send in the request to the office, and they will again farm it out. Have you talked about your monitor with managing questions? We sort of went over that. Have you planned to do a practice run the week before? That's just as important as if you're in a classroom. You should be practicing with the people that are helping you. Again, I can do a one-on-one with you. We can meet up in your classroom, and we can test everything out. Anything you want to do. It's really important so that you're comfortable. And again, have you thought about how to manage materials, maps, breakout rooms, pacing, timing, discussions, questions, and answers? It's in 3D on digital with Zoom, so it's a little bit more tricky, but I think you have to sort of consider it. No waving hands. So this is on sharing material prior to the first class. So I did maps. That was one I did. This is a map that someone was doing. So they gave them the map. I think they were talking about Borneo. So that's an idea, just sending out a map so that people can situate where the class is taking place. Vocabulary used in class. Oh, this was one on stock market. Arbitrage, basic points, call option. Someone was doing it on stock market. So this person thought it was really valuable, which I would agree, to have the vocabulary. So you might consider sort of creating some kind of glossary for your course. And video clips. I think this throws me into a video. So this is the video I just showed you, the video on extreme sports. I don't know why I did it, but it's going to take a long time to load. Just to give you an idea of how a video can enhance your program. Okay. These are just different things, materials you should consider to break up with just the monologue of you as a study leader, but it does really accentuate a course, and it does give other perspectives. And again, you can learn this in the Zoom training. We can help you with it, and anything, any other ideas you might have. So do we have any questions up till now, just sort of up until day one? So day one, you should get there early, either if it's in your class or on Zoom. Again, we do have study leaders who now open their class 30 minutes before, so people can come in and chat. It's at your own will, but it is a good time to get to know your students, and it gives you the social time. Introduce yourself in the class rep. Go over how you're going to manage the classroom, if you're going to share on email or Google Drive, or if you're going to send notes. Discuss cancellations. This is important. We used to use the old phone chain when we were in person. It doesn't happen so much in the spring, but it certainly was necessary in the winter, but who knows what spring and winter are now. So figure out with your class if they like a phone chain, and you definitely have to advise the office if there's a cancellation. One time I was teaching in winter, and there was a snowstorm in Lebanon, but nothing in Hanover, but our roads were not plowed, and I had to cancel it and let them know. And people from Hanover were very upset, but people come from all over to our classes. obviously not with Zoom, but you never know what system is going to go down. So just be prepared to have a backup plan and how you think it should happen, and definitely let your office know, let the office know. Elias?
Yes, I do believe that I received an email about an invite to an Osher Google Drive. Is that correct? Is there a specific Google Drive that Osher is managing?
There's one per study leader.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so yes, you can upload any information there for your course that you'd like the participants to have, you guys. And then we put the welcome letter that has the Zoom, you're doing Zoom, correct? It has the Zoom link, the Google Drive link, and if you've given the okay to record your classes, there would be a link to those course recordings in case one of your participants has missed a class. And that gets sent out once they register, when we send out the welcome letters, and we encourage leaders to use that so you don't have to constantly keep updating your course email list for adds and drops. It's supposed to be easier for you, the instructors. And if you and Laura should have sent you and your co-leaders that link so you can add materials as you wish.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lisa.
Yeah, I've got a quick video on how to use Google Drive. I can send it out to those of you who participated. It's just a refresher because you probably all know how to do it, but I'll send it around. So the next one is day one after housekeeping. So quick introduction by the participants. Those are the people in your class. I say quick because sometimes if you have a class of 14 or 15, it can go on. Maybe just their name and one thing about them, a hobby or where they live or why they're taking the course. We usually try to break around half time, because if you do a 2-hour class, people, if they may have been sitting there for a while, they may have turned their video up and gotten up and gone off, but they may need that break, and you will need a break. So usually just sort of take a 5-minute break half time. It's also social time. If people want to hang in the room and talk, or in the classroom and talk, you can leave the Zoom open for the chats. And then the other thing is copy the office on all the emails that you send the class, so the office can help a student if needed. I think Diane or Lisa talked about this. This is really critical because sometimes the class member needs help, and if you don't have, if the office doesn't have your materials, they can't help. So if you can upload your stuff to your Osher Drive, that's even better. Or if you're emailing your participants the materials, just add that Osher, what is it, staff at Osher, what is it, Diane?
Osher@dartmouth.edu, and you'll find that email address is on your roster.
Yeah, okay, and it should be on every other email. I usually just reply all, and that covers that covers me, so I don't have to remember. Any questions with this? We're good? Okay. So the feedback forms are what gets sent out, and usually it's the class rep that sends out the link. It's all online, and this is what your class participants fill out on the class. Again, it's not all about the study leader, it's also about the conditions of the classroom. If you're in person, we'd like to know how the situation, the environment works. It helps you, it helps the office, and it helps Osher. We get feedback on the course, the quality of Zoom, the equipment, and suggestions for other courses that we're always looking forward to. So that's really important. But sometimes we used to send it at the end, but sometimes people send it out a couple of sessions before the end so people can start thinking about it. But just make sure that it gets out. And I think Laura will follow up and do a sweep.
Yeah, so Anne, so we've heard a couple of things. We've actually found results that if the study leader actually is the one that makes a plea or reminder to the class participants, because this feedback is really for you, that we have found that more participants will actually take the time to fill it out. We have also found that if the office is not copied on an email reminder, because it's an online form, if we don't get a copy of it, Diane is the one that sends out a reminder to everyone to please, thank you for attending this class. She puts the title in the email and then links it to everyone. And she cuts and pastes the course description so people can reflect on that when they're filling out the feedback form. So these forms will eventually, once we get them all, they will be sent to each instructor so that they will have these for feedback, for, you know, future planning or just for self-evaluation for yourself.
Okay, thanks. So I'll change that on this. So that's important because if you do get the feedback form sent out, you actually get to see the comments, which can be very, very helpful, and other suggestions. And that's it. So we're now open for questions, which is great. I have the email, the office, but I will send this slideshow out to you all so you can run through it again if you have any questions. I'm just going to close this now. The room is open. Anyone want to jump in? Stuff we missed?
What was the other thing I was going to mention? Because we've been doing a lot of Zooming, we've found other ways to do videos. You have to use a streaming service. We've been doing that for some of our instructors because we have YouTube Premium now. So if you get in a bind and you want to show a video, movie or whatnot, we have that availability. Obviously, if you're in classroom, you can use a DVD if you bring it in, and Baker Library has those.
So Lisa, just to interrupt, you're talking about videos that aren't normally found on YouTube, that they make their own. Is that what you're talking about?
No, I'm saying if you have a movie or a video clip you want to show, Osher purchased the premium so we don't get stuck with all the advertisements. Because it was such a pain in the know what to get interrupted. So we just need the leaders to reach out to us so we know what you would like to show. So we have that capability now. And of course, we all figured it out that you can't stream DVDs through through Zoom when you're doing a class. A few of our instructors found an inventive way at home. They were showing a video on their TV, then they took their laptop over to the TV. It didn't work very well, but kudos for them for being inventive.
That's great.
Yeah, because as we know, slides, maps, short video clips, they all enhance our learning. I'm a visual learner and a hands-on learner, but you know, it's nice to add those aspects to your presentation if it warrants it. But just letting you know about that, the Baker Library, I did mention that, but all three of you are on Zoom, so that may not be as beneficial. But it is nice to know for those that are teaching locally that the Baker Library is open now. And if for some reason you're looking for an article or something that you know and you can't get access to, this has happened to one of our instructors. He just gave us the information and Laura went in and downloaded it and gave it to him because he wants to share that for his class. So he was really excited about that. I guess I'm just trying to let our leaders know that if there's a resource or something that you need, we're here, to help. We will research it. And if we can do it, we will. I just, we realize you're all volunteers. So whatever we can do to make your job easier, just shout out.
Can I just go on to the Osher at Dartmouth and show you where that is? So this is the osher.dartmouth.edu, which is, I hope all of you have visited already. And right here is the study leader tab that Melinda was talking about. And this is the study leader digital handbook. And that's in one of the slides. I didn't want to click on it and go down a rabbit hole. So this takes you over to what we consider our digital handbook. And we have first steps, which if you just go down, it shows you the checklist, the proposal, the welcome letters, everything that you sort of should be aware of that we tried to cover today. And then there's the course design and presentations, which is what Melinda was talking about. I don't expect you to be able to see this up close. And then, or maybe you can, and then the technology training. So back up here, I'm going to scroll slowly. This is how to upload files to your Google Drive. It's actually a video. So if you go to that, that's the video. And this is how to find your class folder. If you can't find the link, that's another video. But if you go back up to the top, this is the course design and presentations. This is the page that Melinda was talking about. I don't know if you want to jump in, Melinda, with anything.
It's excuse me, It's sort of a work in progress. However, there's a lot of really good information here. Anne talked about adult learners, basically your students, and what you can expect from them. So there's some more information there. If you could scroll down, Anne, all the way. There are internet links that we've developed that and discovered that will help you answer any questions. One of the things that I've discovered, and I don't want you to have to go searching for it. So if you have a question, you could email me and I can help you. Places like the University of Michigan, Cornell, any of the universities that train teachers, secondary, well, elementary, but forget that, but secondary teachers have the most incredible websites that will answer any question you have about using classroom discussion and how to use videos and, you know, all that stuff. But I really will help you get through that. We've got a list here and you can just open any of them. And what we're trying to do is give you as many models as we can. So further back when we talked about a welcome letter for your group, don't feel like you have to start with a blank page of paper. We've given you a couple of other welcome letters that people have offered their students. You don't reinvent the wheel. You really don't have to. Everything is there, and I'm happy to help with those kinds of things. But this is the beginning, and then technology training via
So
Zoom.
this is the one that I sort of put together, and it's
Right.
different ideas, teaching with Zoom, recorded trainings, which come from the Osher Office, pre-recorded tips and tricks, teaching in a digital age, teaching hands-on, and then there's a whole other series called Zoom Antics, because we actually built this website at the beginning of COVID, and then we integrated it into this. So,
Exactly.
so again, we have the first steps, the course design and presentations. If you have any questions, check in with Melinda, and the tech training on Zoom, check in with me or the office. And on the sidebar, you have finding your class folder, which is usually the first question we get, and then uploading full files, which is the second question. So again, if you go to Osher at dartmouth.edu, it's on the front page under study leaders, and you click on study leaders, and it's the digital handbook.
Something a little off this topic, but I just want to let all our instructors know, I mean, all our members are adults, but I just want you to know, sometimes there are difficult people in your class, and you're volunteers, and regardless, even if you weren't volunteers, if you're struggling with somebody in your class, that they're being rude, obnoxious, whatever, please don't be afraid to call the office. It's your classroom and you're here for us. I'm happy to have a conversation and ask them to not come back if it comes to that. And I have done that before. It doesn't happen very often, but I just want to put that out there that, you know, you're giving your time and all this energy that you've put into a class, and to have someone in your class that's just relentless, just give a shout out, do it sooner rather than later so you don't struggle. I just like to let folks know that, just because it's not necessary.
Thanks. Sue's found the hand.
Yes, I found that. I do have a question, partly because I've been sort of putting this on the back burner as I've got another presentation to give in a few days, but I don't teach until mid-May. I know I need, someone informed me I needed to write a welcome letter to go in my folder. And I need to put, I've been working on other stuff I'll be putting in, but when do I need to do that? And when do I find out whether I'm teaching 2 or I don't even know what the limit was, so.
So
Welcome letter. Whoops,
Susan,
go ahead, Lisa.
Oh, sorry, Diane.
Go ahead.
Sure. So Susan, you can put that information in your folder anytime that you get it done. The folder is sent out, the link in the welcome letter is sent out 3 to 4 weeks approximately before your class begins.
Okay.
And at any time, we
Okay.
have leaders email us at any time you want to say, hey, I'm curious, how many folks do I have signed up? If we haven't yet sent out the link with the roster in it, just feel free to email us. It's a quick answer. We're happy to let you know that.
Okay, that makes sense. I
And it-
wasn't sure if they were already, anybody signed up was sitting there looking at an empty folder. And
Yeah, no, we haven't sent out welcome letters yet for spring, so not yet. And it won't be empty if they get it. It will at least have our welcome letter and the roster in it if you haven't had a chance to upload your materials yet, but
well, as soon as I'm done with this Sunday class, I'll be paying attention to the next thing on my agenda.
and I'll just say, if folks are still working on their weekly outline, or as we call it, syllabus, that's what Melinda, right? Am I saying that Melinda could help with that process to make sure, or just run it by her? Does this seem, clear or whatnot? I mean, we're here to help, so. And I
Okay,
guess I would like to say thank you all so much for being a part of Osher at Dartmouth. We look forward to working with you and learning about your courses, and thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
well,
Okay.
thank you. Thank you for all this information.
I guess that kind of wraps it up. If we have no other questions, thank you for showing up. Thank you, and enjoy your course.
Yes.
That's the most important thing. Go out and have fun.
Have fun.
Yeah. And your course, I did the same course about 15 times and I was still editing it. So it's never where you want it. So don't feel, when you get through, oh my gosh, because it is what it is and people will enjoy it.
Absolutely.
There's no
Well,
other way to
I
do it.
taught adults for 40, 50 years, so I'm used to teaching the adult learners who choose to come. So,
Right, right,
which is nice.
And as Anne will probably tell you, you can take that same course and offer it 15 times and the results are always different, because it
Absolutely.
Well.
really depends on the chemistry of the people in your
Right.
class.
Try talking
Right.
about childbirth for 40 years.
It hasn't changed.
Melinda can attest to that.
Okay, guys, this is it.
Take
Thank you
care,
very
everyone.
much.
It's great to
Very
see
much.
everyone.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Too much
Bye-bye.
information.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for coming.
Bye all. Thanks, Anne.
Okay, bye. Hey, Lisa's
Bye-bye.
got that. Bye.